Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Ultimate Insider, Bear Insiders podcast. I am Mike Pawlawski, former Cal quarterback and color analyst for the radio. Today, we're talking about that BC game, and watching that BC game, I'm going to be straightforward, straight off the cuff. It tells me two things about this football team. One, they need to pay attention to the small details more. There's some errors, some mistakes, all kinds of things that just keep adding up in games. So that's number one. But number two, it tells me that there is no quit in this football team, and that's a huge thing that can help you overcome mistakes. You go to Boston, long road trip, the week after that game that was San Diego State, which was just a train wreck, and you get down 14-0 right away. Boston College goes down, they drive, they score on that first possession, and then you get the ball back, and on your first pass of the game, you throw an interception. It was JKS being a little bit of a freshman, late, trying to drive the ball in when he shouldn't. Mason Minnie should have come back to the ball a little bit more. There was pressure on the offensive line. So kind of all kinds of things going in there. But in the end, the quarterback's got control of it. Just throw that ball away, come back and get it somewhere else. Don't try to force it. But it was, first pass of the game. So anyway, they get the interception. They take it down. They score. You're down 14-0. That would be a time for a team that would quit to quit. The Bears did not quit. They did not quit in this game. They did not quit at that point. And they battled their way back into the game. So I'm going to talk about a few of the things that I saw in this game. One of the things, which is huge, 11 penalties for the Bears. Now, Boston College had 15, so the Bears actually won in the penalty differential there. But, man, you cannot have that many penalties in the game and expect to get a win against a team that's playing clean. So first and foremost, got to clean up the penalties, especially the unforced errors, the false starts, those kind of things late in the game on the goal line would drive you crazy. So that's got to get cleaned up. Big plays, giving up huge plays on defense, the big explosives that we talk about. For the last couple of weeks, for my plays of the week, I've shown run fits and what that means and how they can be a problem. Well, once again, you've got to hit your run fits. You've got to be right in terms of your run fits on defense. Now, I'm speaking as a guy who has never had to fill a run fit in his entire life. I'm an offensive guy. I was always trying to beat those run fits to get guys out of position. But that's the assignment on defense. You have to fill your run fits. And if you're, one of the frontline guys, you got to get your gap. If you're a linebacker, you got to get your gap. If you're a secondary member, now you've got to make up for it when those frontline guys don't get their gap. And so a couple big busts in this game, a huge one down the left sideline to Turbo Richard for a touchdown into the boundary. So, a couple of huge plays like that can be backbreakers in games. Bears still found a way to rally. And so that's a big piece of it. Bears, on the bright side, did find a way to rush for 118 yards in this game. Now, it doesn't sound like a ton, and it's not necessarily a ton, but Kendrick Raphael ran for 119. So he had a great game. He found something in there. He wasn't perfect either, but he found something in terms of rushing the ball, hitting his lane, his hole, and then exploding through. Got a couple of big runs in there. Nothing ridiculous over the top. I think there were 2 explosives in the run game. So a nice job there. Rushing the football, the offensive line was moving some people at times, but there were also some offensive line busts, mental errors that you can't have. And so all these things kind of combined give you this really ugly feel to a game where you're like, oh, it's, the Bears, like they're trying to give it away, or, oh, they're taking it back. They're finding something different. Boston College was also committing mistakes. And so it was the war of attrition in this one. I thought that receivers for Cal this week, I don't think there were any drops in this game per se. Jacob DeJesus in particular was really good. 8 receptions, 61 yards, had a touchdown across the middle, but he got you those yards when you needed them, big first downs on a Texas route. He got you the touchdown in the end zone off of the mesh concept. And so he does some really good things for you on offense. He never gets the big yards. He hasn't had a 100-yard game yet, but he finds those yards that you have to have at the times that you have to have them. So Jacob DeJesus is a good pickup this year. Tron Grizel, once again, he had 5 catches in this game, 78 yards, but he is still going up and competing for the ball, using his height to his advantage. And Sungapolatelli literally throws one of the best back shoulder balls I've ever seen. He just throws guys open to that back shoulder, to the high spot where only they can get to it. The DBs can't climb the ladder for it. And so he just really polished that ball, and he's really good at throwing it. And so it's become a real weapon in this offense. They were doing it off of straight go routes, and they were doing it off of stutter goes or stop and goes. And Tron was able to pick something up there too. So they found something between those two. You can see that JKS trusts him. You can see that Tron is going to go up and get that ball, make sure that he's doing what he can do with his body style, right? He does it well. He goes up and gets it. He fights for it. That's a dude that I would throw a ball to any day because I would trust him to go up and make that play when he can. So that was really good. Mason Minnie, once again, came up big in this play. A couple times, 4 catches, including the game winner. Obviously, he went down on a 4 vert. Everything broke down. Jaron had to flush the pocket, and as he did, Mason Minnie just drifted back into an open zone, right? Found green grass. The thing about scramble drill as a receiver is you have to move with your quarterback to an open space, give him somewhere to put that ball. And JKS threw an absolute dime out there to him, which, for some coaches would get you going, like, when we were up in the box, it was like, oh, yes, because there was a corner right there who could have made a play on the ball. So great ball. And the way it works is this: as a quarterback coach, all those things, if you think you can fit it in and you fit it in, then you were right. And so that's how you develop trust. And so JKS has been really good at finding places where he can fit that ball in, even in tight windows downfield. So great throw to Mason Minnie for the game winner on the 4 vert, and then the scramble drill. That's exactly how you execute it. So a nice job there. And then Jordan King got a nice slot fade as well. So contributing there. Overall, offensively, the Bears were fits and starts. There were times when they had, 3rd and short, 4th and short, where they had to get it and they weren't able to come up with it. And that is frustrating. You have to be able to get a yard when you need a yard. I don't care how many guys they stack in the box. You have the advantage of snap count. When the ball is coming up. And so you have to be able to get that. And they got stuffed several times on, short yardage situations. Can't have it. You got to figure it out, whether it's quarterback, whether it's the, quarterback center exchange, whether it's the offensive line not getting push, and all of that happened. You need to figure that out because those are crucial downs that you have to have, and you have to have confidence you're going to be able to get it at that time. And so Bears need to improve in that situation as well. It's another one. Defensively, Bears gave up 178 rushing yards to a team that hadn't rushed for 70 yards in a game this year. Their longest rush to date going into that game was 13 yards. And I don't remember how far it was. Turbo Richards broke one that was like 60 something right after a turnover. And so that was kind of a backbreaker I think it was after the interception. Maybe it was later, after the 4th down. But then, so that's a backbreaker. That's really tough. And then they allowed another big rush later. They have to be in the run fits. They have to be there. And the secondary has to be there to back it up. They have to make the tackle if the front 7 can't make it. Got a couple takeaways on defense. Zeke Masses got another interception. Really nice job. He kind of pulled right at the top of the break, kept himself close, and then cut the ball off. At the same time, Aiden Keanu-Aina got a little bit of pressure, pushed his player into the quarterback's lap, which forced an errant throw, forced the throw to be just behind where it should be, just behind the receiver. And Zeke Mass was able to cut that off and intercept it and then return it down to, I think, the 2-yard line. So that was a huge play on defense. And then the obvious one, Luke Farrelly in the end zone at the end of the game gets the huge interception on a mesh concept. Really a bad read by Dylan Lonergan. He thought he was going to move Farrelly with his eyes. I'll draw that play up later, by the way, for plays of the week so you guys can take a look at it. But mesh concept, bunch of receivers crossing the middle. Perfect call by Cal. They kept the linebackers home with vision so that they could play into the pass. Luke Farrelly was that front side backer, and as he thought he would look Farrelly off and then throw the ball in behind him on a mesh route, Farrelly just stepped in front of it, grabbed it. Now, that said, great play, by the way, great play. You either go down right there in the end zone, bring the ball up to the 20, or if you return it as far as you can. Hold on to the ball, right? Don't get stripped, but return it up to 10, 15. Give your offense some breathing room so they don't have to worry about taking a knee or make it easy for them. Instead, Luke grabbed the ball. He ran it back and slid on like the 3-yard line, maybe the 2-yard line. And then in his excitement, he threw the ball, but threw it at the BC bench, which gives you the personal foul. No bueno. Bad situation. Ended up a bad offensive series there in the end zone. But all that said, It was a win. It was an ugly win, but it was a win. And so Bears get to celebrate a win on the road, which is not easy to do. It's hard to win football games. So congratulations for that. That's huge. Eventually, in game 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, down the road, it didn't catch up to him in game 5, but down the road, you cannot keep making mistakes because those mistakes will catch up to you. And I know when I was playing, I didn't like hearing that because I thought, yeah, we'll just figure out a way. But I also played on teams where I thought that, and then they caught up with me. And so lost in the playoffs, did things like that when our team was making mistakes. Got to clean it up. You have to clean it up. Offensive line has to clean it up, especially that's where everything needs to start. That's where the mentality needs to start. They set the tone for the entire team. And so they need to pick it up. They need to put on their big boy pants, and they need to get some attitude, quite honestly. You can't be worried about your assignment when you're playing offensive line. You have to be going full speed. So they need to figure out assignment. They need to figure out scheme. They need to go full speed, and they need to start mauling people. And that will change everything for that offense. JKS was awesome in this game. Made, some freshman errors, but the balls that he threw some big time balls, including that last one in Mason Minis. Once again, the freshman quarterback just keeps getting better. And then defense came up with the plays they had to when they had to come up with them. Zeke Massis, once again, another interception, huge play. So all that culminates in a win. Talked to Coach just a little bit earlier, and we'll take a look at that right now. Well, joining me now is head coach Justin Wilcox. And Coach, a big win on the road in Boston this past weekend. Talk about what that was like for the team and what you saw when you watched game film.
Yeah, it's a great victory. They're tough to beat at home. I think they're 7-1 before we had got there. Coach O'Brien does a really good job with their team. And then we go out and went down quickly, 14-0. Obviously, that wasn't the plan, but we found a way to fight back and scratch and claw and win ugly. There was a lot of momentum shifts during that game, and there was adversity throughout the game, and we had to play it all the way to the end. And I'm really proud of the guys for never flinching and continuing to fight and play and find a way. We put together a great drive and a throw and a catch to go ahead. And then defensively, we had opportunities to get off the field on the last drive, didn't quite do it, and then made a critical play to win the game with the interception. So I'm really proud of them for that. But there's obviously a lot better football that we could play, and so that's what we're focused on this week.
And we talked about it last week after that San Diego State game. There was an opportunity, you pointed out, you get down 14-0 in that first game, that first quarter, and there's an opportunity for a team who is not mentally strong to kind of pack it in and say, oh, that's it, and kind of shut it down, right? Your nervous system goes on reset, and that's it. But your team didn't do that. What does that say about your team?
Well, it's the individuals and the team collectively to keep fighting, and we knew that they had a good team. We defensively on the first series, they made some good plays, and then there's some things that we didn't do real well. And then we went out, and I think it was the first pass we threw an interception, combination of things on that play, and then we misfit a run. So all of a sudden, bang, bang, it's 14-0. To your point, there's opportunities in there for guys to seek cover and kind of point the finger. Nobody did that, kept playing. Our offense comes back out, puts a drive together. And really from that time on, the defense gave up the big run later in the game and then a end-of-half field goal, so 10 points for the rest of the game. So they did a much better job getting off the field and continuing to compete. But I think the lesson was just you got to keep fighting, and you got to win ugly sometimes, and that's what that was.
You talked about winning ugly. One of the things you guys did, Kendrick Raphael actually rushed for 119 yards in this game. So that was most of your rushing yards, 118 total on the day. So you're one less than his total. But you were able to find something in him. What was it about Kendrick Raphael? What was it about the run game with him that was hitting for you?
It starts up front with the O-line, and we had some good runs in there. The offensive line did a really nice job at times in the run game, as did the tight ends. And then Kendrick. Kendrick made some really nice runs, great cuts. He made some guys miss. He broke some tackles. That's what running backs got to do. What we want to do is be more consistent doing that throughout that game, and we can do that at O-line, at running back, at tight end, and everywhere else. But we saw stretches of it, and that really helps us because then we're in rhythm on offense. We're not behind the chains. I think our average third downs were 3rd and 4, not 3rd and 7 or 8. So the run game is key to that, and we made progress there and still can be much, much better.
Yeah, and somebody that keeps coming up week in, week out because he gets the contested catches for you, Tron Grizel. Once again, this game, he fought for some contested catches JKS throws as good a back shoulder ball as anybody I've ever seen. And Tron is right there for him to go up and get those balls. Talk about what that means when you win those catches, not just in terms of, moving the chains and first downs, but the momentum that brings with it with the team.
Well, yeah, in the passing game, you got to win somehow. And some guys win out of their breaks. Jacob's a good example of that. He does a great job winning out of his break. He's very, very quick, built low to the ground. Some guys win, running away from people long. And then some guys win with their length. And that's Tron. He makes great contested catches. He's got great body control. And Jaron can put it where Tron can get it. He made a number of great throws. The ones to Tron, he kind of had a back shoulder inside fade to Jordan King.
Yeah, Jordan King, yeah.
It was a beautiful throw. And same thing with Jordan. He wins catching the ball in contested situations. So all those guys, the receivers made plays. I think we had one drop on the day, which had been an issue coming into the game. So guys caught the ball. Obviously, Mason Minnie continues to make really good plays and none bigger than the touchdown. So we need that. We need guys to make contested catches and find ways to move the chains for us.
Yeah, and you talk about Jacob DeJesus, right? A little quick, kind of jitterbug kind of guy. He had a great game this game. I think he had 7 catches, but he had a big touchdown catch, obviously. But he was kind of a go-to guy that you found matchups for. Talk about what he adds at that inside slot receiver, because he doesn't get huge yards, but he gets the hard yards and the nuanced yards you need for the first downs.
Yeah, and I like to, Coach Harsh and the offensive staff did a really good job moving him around because he lined up out at number 1 at the X or Z spot. He lined up in the backfield. He lined up obviously in the slot. We motion him. So he's a guy that's a weapon, and we're going to find different ways to get him the ball and keeping the defense off balance in terms of they can't just man him or zone him. They don't always know where he's going to be. That's a credit to our offensive coaches. And then Jacob doing what he does. I mean, he is the same reason he's really productive in that role on offense is the reason he's a great returner. I mean, he's fearless. He's very quick and strong. He is not the tallest guy on the field ever, but he's really good in his role and a big part of our offense.
Yeah, he is. And then again, you talked about too Mason Minnie early. You see the catches. Obviously, you see the game-winning touchdown catch. But the stuff that you don't see from him is when he's fighting back for the ball and he draws a pass interference.
Uh-huh.
The times when he, as a target, goes, kind of gives everything. He took a shot on that play, boy, it landed on his back, and I was worried about his head on that play. But he makes plays that you don't necessarily count in the overall huge plays, but they turn out big.
Yeah, I mean, a game like that, as you know, I mean, every one of them matters. And so whether it's coming back to the ball on a PI, he caught kind of a routine route late that was contested. I think in the third quarter or fourth quarter, that was a big play prior to the scramble, and then the scramble drill. I mean, it's textbook scramble drill. 4 vertical, Jaron steps up and out. He snaps it off to the corner. Jaron pumps the corner to pumps it to the sideline, holds the safety, and then rips it to him. Two eyes, 2 hands, and then he outruns everybody. I mean, so Mason is playing really good football. Mason's a heck of a player. He's getting better and better every single week, and he can do more than just one thing. I mean, he can block, he can run, he can catch, he's tough. He's just doing a heck of a job.
Yeah, he really is out there, and it's one of those things. Do you ever watch the quarterback, and sometimes you're like, oh, no, oh, yeah, that's great. I mean, because he throws some balls. That ball to Minnie, that corner should have fallen underneath it, or the safety, whoever was in that deep third there. And he just threw the perfect ball where only Mason could get to it. Does ever, like as a coach, do you ever find yourself that deep inhale and then the exhale?
Yeah, I know that feeling, and I know what you're saying. I'm going to be honest with you, though. I trust Jaron's instincts, and obviously we all trust his arm talent. I mean, he's got a lot of confidence in his arm for great reason, and he can throw the ball very, very accurately, and that was a phenomenal throw, and that was one of them because he had a bunch of other throws in the game. Now, the great news is Jaron can get better. I mean, there's plays in the game that he can certainly learn from. Same goes for Mason Minnie, but those guys can continue. All those guys can get better and better, and that's where, this week we really want to find out what our best game looks like because we had a hard-fought win, and we found a way playing imperfectly, so I don't know we're never going to be perfect, but we can play better, and we want to see what our best looks like.
Yeah, I mean that's a beautiful thing to have. A quarterback that you trust is always nice. When you sit back there as a coach, like, well, if he throws it, he believes in it, and he's one of those guys that just seems to be naturally lucky, and that when he does believe in it, he gets it there as a thought. So pretty fun to watch. Let's flip the side of the ball. Let's talk about the defense for a little bit. You mentioned it. This is a team in Boston College. They hadn't run the ball really well, but they came out with their gap scheme early, and they were running it pretty good. What was going on there? And talk about the adjustments.
Yeah, some of it was a good job by them. But the big ones were we had a couple misfit runs. So when you have 2 runs for, say, 110 yards,
Yeah.
then the stats are going to be terrible. Like, if we get those runs on the ground, even if they're not for 0 yards, but they're for 6 or 8, we probably feel a lot better about the run defense. They ran counter. They had some really good run schemes. We got moved at times up front. Our edges can play better. Our inside backers fitting can be better. And then the secondary on crack, they're going to make the DBs tackle. I mean, that was all the condensed splits. It's like pro football. They're going to make the DBs tackle. And we didn't do a great job, crack replacing a couple times. So it was up and down. I also think that running back, number 2, is a very good player. But if you give up, we can't give up, 60 or 70-yard runs. I mean, you do that one, and then the one that they hit on, we pressured them, and we didn't make the play at the second level, and then the third level didn't keep the shoot. So all of a sudden you have, compounding issues. There's 2 runs that go for well over 100 yards, and now your stats you're not gonna have good run stats.
Yeah, it gets pretty ugly in a hurry when you break out the big ones. And number 2 was pretty good. You can see that on the Stanford film when he caught that wheel down the sideline and outran everybody. He had some speed on the top end. Talk about their quarterback, Dylan Lonergan. I thought he was, outside of a couple interceptions, I thought he was a pretty good player.
He is. He plays confident. He's well coached, and he knows what he's looking at. They're very specific in what they do in terms of formation, man zone indicators, formation in the boundary, how they loosen you up with motion, what they're trying to do. So, the run game and the pass game worked well together. I thought he knows where to go with the ball, and I thought he's a good player. I think they were leading the country in offense or in passing coming into the game, and you see why. So we defended the pass better. There was a first play of the second half. We got to eliminate the PIs when we're in position. There's times when you get a PI for a contested play. We made a couple PIs in the game that, we're in position. We don't need to pass interference the guy. So that's where we got to get better. Our eye control in the secondary has to improve.
Yeah, and that said, you still got some interceptions there. We talked about, Ferrelli. We'll talk about his in a little bit, but Zeke Massis, once again, getting another interception in this game. He was in perfect position, had a little bit of pull at the top when the officials don't see it, and then ended up in perfect position on a dig route. Talk about what he means out there and getting that ball back on defense.
Well, we had just, if I remember right, we had just not converted.
Right.
They get the ball deep in their territory, and we get the interception, return it to the 2. That's 2 times he's done that this year, where he basically set up a touchdown inside the 5-yard line with an interception. Oregon State, and then this one. And those are game-changing plays. So he's got to play with clean hands. He undercut the route. He caught it. Great return, gets it to the 2. We score. I think when you look at the game from post-game, 10,000 feet, we basically swap spit with them on interception converted to a touchdown. Well, they did the same to us. We kind of traded with them right there. But that was a huge play for us to get back, and get some momentum back, because we had just kind of stalled out there, didn't convert, and then they had I believe that was a second down play that he intercepted on the dig.
Yeah, and that was that middle 8 piece too, right? So didn't get the score going into half, but then you couldn't convert, and he comes out and finds a way to help you guys convert for the touchdown there. The turnovers are massive in any game, but they were pretty big right there to start the second half there for the offense. And then finally, we'll talk about, in terms of this game, Luke Ferrelli didn't have a great game last week versus San Diego State, but he came out and he got the interception when it counted in this game. How was his overall game? And talk about that play.
Yeah, he had a solid game. I think there's things we can do run fit wise. Again, that was really everybody on the defense. But, you make a play like that, you get a game ball.
right?
That's the truth. You make a play like that, that's the way it works. So we got down there. We should have, you look at the video, like we got to be off the field before that. I think we are good enough physically to get off the field on the fourth down. We have to rush the quarterback a bit better in those situations. That's where your rushers can win you the game. That's what they're here for. So we can do a better job rushing. We can get off the field on the fourth down if we have better eye control, and then we get a PI, and they get a back shoulder. So we have not a great sequence there. And then Luke, in a visual coverage, melts off the quarterback, max drop, and makes a fantastic play to win the game.
And they were just trying to run mesh across the middle there on you to get it done, and just had the backer stacked in there. So it's a great call. It's also a great job of Luke to see that happen. Did you talk to him about maybe returning that ball a little further out of the end zone to give the offense a chance?
The play there, and he said it as soon as he came off the sideline. He knew it. The play there, we call it no moss. If you get an interception or a turnover in those, you just go down.
Yeah, just fall.
Yeah. So the play there is go down in the end zone. So that was a lesson to learn.
He thought about it about 3 yards too late.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something we talk about, and it's easier after the game when everything's slowed down and you're just intercepted the ball. It's just to win the game, but yeah, that's the idea there, is to go no moss and just get down.
Yeah, which kind of leads to the point that last series had to drive you crazy as a coach, watching it from the sideline with all the false starts and everything going on out there. What was going on with the offensive line at that point? Just too many nerves, worried about getting a safety?
Well, it depends on who you ask, because there's some things, snap count. There's things that happen on the field that you don't always see or hear. It doesn't excuse we can't have procedure penalties there. We're trying to protect the quarterback, just move it out of the end zone. We just need to get 2 snaps off because they had 1 timeout. Yep. The most important thing is to get the snap. Number 1 is to get the snap and just move 6 inches forward, and then they would take a timeout. We do it again. They end up getting a penalty for one of the things that had shown up, but yeah, we got to do a better job. We got to reduce the penalties at the offensive line position.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But a great win overall. And so in spite of all those little things, found a way to make it happen in this game. So congratulations on that. This week, you've got Duke coming into town. Talk about Duke, what you see from them. That pretty dynamic offense, great quarterback that I watch on film. Mensah looks like a pretty special talent back there.
Yeah.
Talk about what you expect.
Yeah. Spread it out, 11 personnel heavy, RPOs, drop back pass, dash pass. The QB is a fantastic player. The running backs are really good. The skill positions are very good. The O-line, those guys work together. They're all in unison. You can tell they're a well-coached unit. They do a very good job, but the quarterback is, you can defend everything, and then you still have to defend what happens next. So he's a real talent. Receivers are good. They got a little quick guy, kind of like Jacob in some ways. That's a very good player. Defensively, uber aggressive, a lot of movement. Linebacker pressures, a ton of that. You got to be really good with your IDs. They create a lot of negative plays, and the D-line, front 7 is as good as any we've seen. They might not have the same dimensions as, say, Minnesota, but they're powerful, twitchy. The edge rushers are very good. The interior guys are good. So it's a really good, really.
And when you get defenses like that, you get, they gamble. They're gonna win some, right? They're gonna get home. Something's gonna happen. What do you tell a young quarterback about? Hey, it's okay to be 50% passing. It's okay to miss some passes. It's okay to throw it away, and we'll come back and get it. What are you telling him?
Yeah, I think it's needy, not greedy. And when it's there, we'll take it. If it's not, there might need to be a throwaway. That might be the best decision on a play. And just wait for our opportunities. And when the opportunities are there, then we strike. But IDs up front, the run game, pass protection, finding a way to get the ball to the third level. So that's the key. And Jaron's been, each and every week, the guy, he just gets better and better. And so this will be a great challenge for our entire team, though. I mean, it's going to take everybody. Their special teams are very good. They've blocked a lot of kicks. I mean, 97's got 5 in his career. Okay. So they're a very good football team. Coach Diaz does a great job, and we're excited for the challenge and excited to play our best game.
Well, Coach, thanks once again for coming on today. Great win. Congratulations on the win in NBC, and looking forward to a good game this week against Duke.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Go Bears.
Well, that is Travers family head football coach Justin Wilcox. And a lot to think about for the Bears. A lot to improve on, a lot to get better. Have to build that offensive line, improve what they're doing up there. and obviously some defensive stuff, run fits, tackling, all of that. So as I said early on, it's an ugly win. Any win is great. So huge win for the Bears to get one on the road against Boston College. And I don't even want to say in their defense, but I have been watching, I'm doing college football during the week. I'm watching a ton of games. I'm doing the NFL Monday nights on Monday night after the game show on ABC 7, Bay Area. You can catch me and Larry Beal doing that if you haven't seen it yet. But I am seeing a ton of ugly football, mistakes everywhere, college game, NFL, and it's potentially the scheme. Things have gotten pretty complicated. There's a lot of detail to it. There's a bunch of stuff that you have to figure out, and teams are constantly trying to trick you, get you out of position. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe part of it's the way guys train these days. Maybe it's the mentality these days. I don't know. But there's a lot of ugly football going around. You don't see a lot of purely crisp matchups anymore where just the better guy physically wins, where, you have one player who's better than the other. It's a bunch of mistake-prone football, turnovers, penalties, just stupid stuff that don't need to happen that's really causing issues in football games right now. So it's across the board. It's not just Cal, but if the Bears want to make some noise, become a bowl team, get 8, 9, dare I say 10 wins, they have to clean it up. Their schedule is conducive to them winning a lot of games this year if they don't shoot themselves in the foot. They have enough talent to win a lot of games. Their opponents are not powerhouse teams. And so they're in a position to get a good record and to do something this year and just clean up the mistakes a little bit. And it makes all the difference in the world in getting the extra first down here or there, finding something in special teams, a big return by Jacob DeJesus, not giving the opposing team a free, cheap first down or a big explosive play for a touchdown, making them earn every single drive. If you do those things, then you set yourself up for success. So again, congratulations to the Bears. They got it done. They know, they watched the film. They know they're making mistakes, clean up the mistakes, and you're a completely different football team. Now you become a top 20 team, right? And then you improve from there. And so my junior year, we were like that. We were a little mistake prone and we were good enough, but we weren't great. And we ended up, I think, in top 20, top 25, something like that at the end of our bowl game. But my senior year is where we got rid of the mistakes and we would dominate teams. And so if you just get rid of mistakes, just don't kill yourself, it changes a lot in terms of the way you play and the results at the end of the season. All right. I've harped on that enough. This week, Bears have Duke coming into town. So long road trip. They've got to play at 10:30. They've got to start the game at 10:30 at night, body clock. Got to be tough to do. I know as a broadcaster, just starting at 7:30 makes it tougher. So that's a big one. Duke is, here are the stats that matter, +1 in takeaway to turnover ratio. So they are +1. They've fumbled 5 times. They've recovered 5 fumbles and they've only fumbled 4 times. And they have thrown 2 interceptions, I believe, and their opponents have thrown 2. So they're +1. It's all in a fumble. And +1. They are 80% in red zone scoring on offense. So every time they get down in the red zone, they're 80% conversions. They're getting about 471 yards per game in terms of total offense, which is a pretty impressive number, doing really well on offense. And they're rushing for about 150 yards per game, which means they're passing for about 320 a game. They are 45% in third down conversions. That's a really good number for third down conversions as well. So huge piece of that is their quarterback, Darian Mensah. Talked about it with Coach Wilcox. This guy's dynamic. 69% passer, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, super high efficiency, and he's what you call a fixer. So even when they're not in the right play, this guy finds a way to fix it with his feet. And he's not a huge scrambling guy, but he just keeps the play alive until he finds something. He's also a California native, went to San Luis Obispo High School. So he's back there. Only got recruited by Tulane coming out of high school. Duke played Tulane last season. They saw him. They liked him so much that they got him as an NIL guy, paid him a ridiculous amount of money. It's like $7 million for 2 years, so crazy amount of money. And replaced their quarterback, Malik Murphy, who's at Oregon State now. And I think they made the right choice because this guy's really, really good. So he's going to be a handful to deal with. They have a running back, number 20, Nate Shepard. He's their leading rusher, like 350 yards. He's a true freshman out of Louisiana. the team total is 770 yards rushing. So, like I said, 152 per game. That's what they're rushing for. They have a couple of receivers. It's Cooper Bacotti. I haven't studied yet, so forgive the pronunciations. 21 catches, 3 touchdowns. Kashawn Brown, who is 21, he's the speed guy. He is the get over the top fast guy. He's got 21 catches. Shamir Haggins, 17 catches, but 4 touchdowns. And then Anthony, receiver named Anthony, has 11 receptions and 3 touchdowns. So those are the guys that make up the bulk of their scoring in terms of the passing game. And again, a quarterback in Darian Mensah who can spin it. So defense, they have 11 sacks in 5 games. They give up 43% third down conversions. That's not a good number for a defense. So that is promising. They also give up 90% red zone conversions. So teams that get into the red zone are scoring 90% of the time, be it a touchdown or a field goal. Teams are putting points on the board. Also, not a great number for a defense. Giving up 393 yards per game on defense. A ton of that is passing. And then 139 on the rush. They've lost 2 games. They lost to Illinois, lost to Tulane. And last week they beat Syracuse 38-3. Now, Syracuse was without their starting quarterback, Steve Angeli, who got hurt the week before. So that's a big deal. But overall, it's a really good, it's kind of a traditional Duke team. Really good offensive team. They throw it around the yard. They run it a little. But their quarterback is really good, really talented. Darian Mensah, you'll know his name by the end of the game. Good football player. And then they're decent against the run, but they give up something in the secondary. So you can throw the ball against them. They give you opportunities. JKS should have a good day this week. As long as the Bears can protect up front, clean up that offensive line stuff, they're going to be okay. Don't forget, I'm going to have pause plays of the week. If you're a premium subscriber, you get to check those out on Bear Insider. So that'll be coming up later this week. But until then, I appreciate you guys listening and watching. I hope you guys catch our radio broadcast, Justin Allegri and myself, on 810 KSFO, or you can get it on the Varsity Network app. You can hear us live, so you can listen during the game. But I appreciate you guys listening or watching for this episode of Ultimate Insider and Bear Insider. I am Mike Pawlawski. As always, go Bears.